Hey Virgos, welcome and welcome back to the Honey Sea Star Tarot, and welcome to the full moon in Scorpio here on May 12th. Now, this full moon in Scorpio is all about speaking your truth, finding a more authentic way to speak your truth and embrace that with your new beginning. Before we get started though, I just want to say thank you guys to each and every one of you for all the ways that you lift this channel up, lift each other up, because truly you make me feel so blessed to be a part of it, and I love you back. So getting us started here, let's look at a few cosmic oracles, see what wisdom can help guide us through this full moon as we end out things that are no longer allowing us to speak our truth, but instead help us embrace our new beginning. And so what we've got here is you could use some self-care time, like now. Now is the time to schedule it in. And this does not surprise me at all, especially with this Scorpio moon. So with this full moon, we're asked to shine a spotlight on our feelings, really acknowledge what we feel, what we see, what we have voice to, what we give voice to, inside and out. And so this is a time to really look at what's hidden, what's been simmering below the surface, so that we can confront it, we can claim it, and we can transform it. And like I say, as I was doing the astrology, really looking at Scorpio moons, how it's going to affect Virgos here this time. It's really all about finding voice in speaking our truth where we were once silenced. And with the Four Wands in reverse, this is basically, it's still good in reverse, but it's just to a lesser degree, but it speaks to the peace and the harmony, the unstable foundations that cause overlooked blessings. And this is really acknowledging them, like I say, confronting them, claiming it, and then more importantly, transforming it. And so with the essence of Scorpio, with this full moon, it really brings focuses of endings that lead to powerful new beginnings. And for Virgos in particular, it's going to be centered around the home and family life. And so this could be in regards to planting seasons, creating more memorable environments, as well as more memorable moments with our loved ones, but also taking that time to really renovate and look at things for what they are. Like I say, it's really about digging underneath the surface, seeing what's simmering below that surface that we've possibly been repressing, seeing unfair advantages, dealing with frustrations due to loss, defeats, humiliations, lies and deceits from misrepresentations, or worse yet, betrayals that have really caused us to really feel like being vulnerable is inadequate, when really that's the opposite of the truth, right? Being vulnerable is our strength. And this suggests, with the 5, a new cycle. It suggests change, and it brings certainty to challenges. Particularly, you could be dealing with Aquarian energies here, but what it really speaks to is that sacral energy, utilizing past as wisdom's tools that help propel you forward so that you're better prepared towards your Libran energy. Seeing that Scorpionic energy and lighting a fire, shining a light on that Scorpion energy with that Sagittarius here towards your new beginning. And so this is looking at new opportunities, new relationships, claiming the fortune, the love, the joy that's meant for you, that leads also to a health in your spirituality, in your creativity, as well as a positivity, and also to a belief, a faith in following your intuition, when before people had torn that down and made you question it. And like I say with the 1, it's all about the power of new beginnings, new ideas, embracing the positives, finding your voice again, and speaking your truth. And if that resonates, by all means, put a heart, share your comments, share your thoughts in the comments below. Because this full moon, being in Scorpio, it really helps us consider what we've been emotionally and spiritually navigating through since really November 2024, when Scorpio's rulers, Mars and Pluto, first came into opposition. This is where, when you were coming into a lot of these energies, these are stimulating and triggering, really rather, a lot of childhood woundings. This is where you came to the table. It really uncovers those hidden aspects of that speak to your youth, that speak to your innocence. And more importantly, it allows you to refocus on what was meant to tear you down, actually made you who you are, right? Not in the way of tearing you down to make you less than, but I mean in the way of it ignited that creativity within you. It ignited the dreamer within you. It brought out the artistic creativity. It also heightened your intuitive aspects, your intuition, your faith, your psychic abilities. A lot of you could have high emotional intelligence that links to your intuition, but more importantly, it really linked itself towards the idea that feelings are really your connection with spirit. This is about your inner peace and your inner relationship with yourself and with your inner child. And like I say, it's about bringing balance back to that emotional innocence where it was once maybe felt like it was depleted or torn down. And so with Scorpio's rulers, Mars and Pluto being in opposition, this is where what was initially hidden is now ready to be released. And as we face it, we're reminded of our own strength. And with the Two of Pentacles, it came out 50-50 here. This really looks at the dualities of that. And like I say, it's like what was meant to tear you down, what was meant to silence you, what was meant to make you question that third eye, your intuition, following and trusting your faith, is now giving you strength. You're remembering who you were, what you were born to do, and it enlightens you in the way of how tall and how proud you can truly stand in exactly the dreamer energy with that Neptune energy that you were meant to do. And like I say, with Two of the Pentacles here, it's a 50-50 on both sides. So it really speaks to that duality. This is where you're harmonizing multiple responsibilities. In a lot of ways, especially because this speaks to the inner child, speaks to what you've been navigating emotionally and spiritually. This is where you're learning to balance the positives, transmute the negatives into positives, but more importantly, recognize your unlimited potential. On the other side, it was where you were led astray, you were torn down, you were told and taught not to trust your intuition, not to know how to handle your emotional strengths, your emotional upheavals, the lower vibrational aspects that we all have. Maybe even too, what I'm really getting is, a lot of you were taught, or were not taught rather, how to handle anger, or were taught that anger was bad, that it was unethical to bring that out, that you had to self-regulating wasn't a thing. Instead, it was that you had to people please, you had to self-sacrifice. And, one thing that really comes to mind is the word selfless, especially when it comes to people pleasing. So when you look at the word selfless, people-pleasing, in a lot of ways, if you were taught that, really speaks to the idea that inherently you're meant to take less than what you're giving, right? And really the truth is, in order to build people up, it takes self-worth, not selfless. It's not about valuing yourself less. Instead, it's about valuing yourself, loving yourself more so that you can love others. It's about that self-regulation and knowing that when you get anger, when you feel pain, regulating that and transmuting that into a positive, standing for something helps you make sure that you don't fall for everything, right? And this is really looking at the ideas that where you were taught the wrong actions, you've had to teach yourself the right actions on how to self-regulate. Knowing that pain is okay, it's taught to make you stronger. Knowing that it's also a piece of you, right? It's okay to feel loss, to feel grief. That's the human experience. That's what gives you the wisdom to appreciate and know what love is and differentiate between what false love is, what karmic love is, as opposed to what true love is when it comes to really supporting people, lifting them up, knowing that you can be vulnerable and that it's accepted. It's a safe place where we can experience all of the emotions and what makes us beautifully human. And so this is where really you're looking at both sides of those coins and you're recognizing just how far you've come along your journey. And like I say, if that resonates, by all means, share your thoughts. Put a heart in the comments below, because now is the time, as we are reminded of our own strength with this full moon, as we learn to speak our truth and unblock that throat chakra again. What was initially hidden is now ready to be released. And as we face it, we gain our strength. We take our power back. And so for Virgos in particular, this full moon in Scorpio shines a light on our third house of communication. Like I say, sacrificing your own emotions, not being validated in our own emotions for the sake of others or by the sake of others. This is where, with this speaking on our third house, it's all about a focus on communication, learning, and then also your immediate environment. And so now is the opportunity to really let go of that mental clutter or those outdated beliefs that have been holding you back from fully being able to authentically express yourself. This is the time to clear the air and embrace a new, more authentic way of speaking your truth, because you taught yourself how to do that, right? And if that resonates, by all means, put a heart in the comments below, like, share, subscribe, because this is the time to reflect on what you need to make you feel safe to shine in your vulnerability, as well as to shed those self-sabotaging beliefs that you've taken on why, and understand why you've been taught, how you were taught that vulnerability is not only unacceptable, but it's unaccepted. And that's incorrect, right? What really comes to mind is, and forgive me, I don't want to bring it to the political world. I'm not trying to do that. But I was listening to a wonderful thing the other day, and basically it spoke to Hillary Clinton. I know, I'm sorry, not meaning to bring up politics. But in her campaign speech, when she was running for office, she really banked on the lesson that she got from her parents of, hey, she was out, she was getting bullied, and she ran into her house, she ran to her mom, and she was like, Mom, I'm getting bullied. And she was crying, right? Well, her mom basically told her at that point, well, what are you doing in here? Get back out there. Get back out there and fight. Show them who's boss. Stand up to those bullies. And her mom wasn't incorrect, right? Her mom was right that we need to stand against adversities. We need to stand against bullies. Letting people get one over on us is not acceptable. Standing your ground, standing for what you stand, on the strength that you have and what you stand for is important. But the message that was underlying, that wasn't talked about, is that what her mom was really telling her in that idea was, being vulnerable is not acceptable in this household. Get out there and be strong. Don't cry. We don't do that here. And that's where, in a lot of ways, culturally, we're preconditioned, we're programmed to think that vulnerability is weakness. And instead, what it leads to is self-sabotaging beliefs, self-sabotaging aspects that don't allow us to express ourselves in a more authentic way. Because truly, it's not necessarily something that, one kid does over the other. It's natural to want, when you're being pushed down, to want to go and seek comfort from the people that you love, to seek that safe space. That's just totally our natural being a human. It's a natural character trait that each and every one of us have. To be denied that vulnerability, to be denied that comfort, that's what really leads to those self-sabotaging aspects that also get passed down, not only culturally, but generationally. And this is where instead you're looking at the presence of conflicts. When you look at that chaos, when you look at those disagreements or the frictions, the rivalries that you encounter, the bullying aspects, right? This is where this full moon is going to allow you to look at what's simmering underneath the surface. Look at that and confront it, claim it, and then transform it with the Queen of Pentacles energy. This is about knowing and coming to the table as a sensible person, knowing and embracing the idea and the premise that it's important to nurture not only the self when things come like that, but to be there for others to help lift them up in that time of vulnerability. And so this is where you're breaking free from inherited communication styles that have silenced your voice, and instead you're taking steps toward fulfilling your intentions and aligning your energy with the universe in the trust that what you anchor to internally manifests in the world around you with that mirrored vibration. And if that resonates, like I say, by all means, put a heart in the comments below, share your thoughts in the comments below, because this is what truly leads to creating that security so that you can speak your truth in a more authentic way. But also too, to recognize with energy. So We're all mirrors, right? And so in a lot of ways, when we're feeling like we're getting beat down, when we're surrounded by chaos or negativity, rather than looking externally around you, right? Look within. That's where your power is as the high priestess. That's where your discernment really lies. That's where your enlightenment really lies. And it's with that connection in your spirituality. What you anchor to energetically tends to mirror in the energies around you. And so if you find that you're surrounded by negativity, look within to see what's really troubling you, and to be honest with yourself about it, to be rational, and also to objective and look at that realistic truth for what it is, so that you're no longer trying to people please, self-sacrifice, self-sabotage for the sake of others. And more importantly, you're no longer silencing your voice, silencing your emotion, as well as silencing your spiritual navigation, your intuition, and your beliefs, so that you can truly leave that behind, break free of that entrapment, and keep fighting for what you stand for, speaking your truth. I'm just saying. And at this time too, as you align to that energy, as you align to those higher vibrations, and really recognize and acknowledge what you're anchoring to on the internal side, especially when it comes to communication, learning, and your immediate environment, reflecting on how you're vulnerable, how your strength is really comes and derived from your vulnerability, and break free from those inherited communication styles that silence you, you can stand again in that Empress power. And by doing so, it's the time to really trust in the universe and allow those unexpected opportunities to guide you towards your destiny, to break free of the old, transform it after you claim it and confront it, and walk towards your new beginnings, so that the past no longer has the power to silence your voice. This is about standing in your truth, speaking your truth, finding that balance, calling in the right relationships, standing against the toxic ones that don't have your best interest at heart, the ones that don't validate you in your emotions, validate you in your path, and instead start new. This is where you're coming to the table, knowing that there is something new that's waiting for you, and Spirit is waiting to guide you. All you need to do is open up and stop self-sabotaging. This is also too where you're no longer looking at those fears and letting them cause nightmares in the world around you, in your life around you, also too in your environment around you, and instead seek that higher wisdom, standing in that hermit power and really shedding the light on those dark spaces, right? Looking at that safe space that needs to be, so that you can truly speak your truth, seeing what's hidden underneath the surface and not being afraid to look at it, not being afraid to confront it or claim it as your own, because there is something that is good waiting for you. This is the arrival of good news, but it also leads to freedom. In a lot of ways, to break free is to break through. And this truly puts you in a place, I grabbed two, puts you in that place of contentment, as well as allows you to truly honor your emotional support, your emotional strength, and opens up your intuition once again through your empathy, through your creativity, as well as through your psychic connection to the universe, so that you can see those signs and receive the guidance that truly leads you to your place of peace and to your Ten of Cups. And like I say, if that resonates, share your thoughts in the comments below about what you're breaking free from. What has been limiting you and not allowing you to stand in your strength, in that vulnerability, right? Now, I also want to look at our spirit animal totems. Spirit, thank you. What additional guidance do you have for us for this full moon here on May 12th? Oh my goodness, thank you. Okay, I'm loving this. So we pulled the lion, the fox, and the ram. This is really about, I'll just pull it as I saw it rather than the order it came out, but with the fox, this is about knowing and building yourself up and knowing your strengths. You're swift, you're smart, but more importantly, solutions to problems are easily found with how you follow your instincts. This is how you look at your resources around you. It's about taking that time to learn self-regulation, learn new opportunities, learn how to stand in your vulnerability without fear, and know that it is acceptable to be vulnerable. It's more than that. It gives you the perseverance. It helps you find the strength when you're knocked down or being bullied or being silenced. And instead, with patience, you can reach your mountaintops through that. And by embracing your emotional strengths, by standing in those feelings, we can release what was hidden and face it, as well as shine in our strengths when it comes to communicating, speaking our truth, as well as taking the time to learn how we can learn better coping mechanisms, right? Learn better ways of voicing our emotions, of demonstrating and navigating our emotions, and more importantly, creating that safe space in our environment, particularly when it comes to home and family, that lead to memorable moments rather than traumas when it comes to loved ones. With the Ram, this also speaks to that no problem can withstand the power of your mind. Never give up. Good luck is meant for you. It's your higher calling, and the world needs you, and this is where you have within you all the courage you need. Let go of the past and reclaim your majesty. Speak your truth. Make noble choices for those by your side, those who you walk through life with, because you will find success in your contentment when you no longer silence yourself and instead you authentically find a way to speak your truth and embrace exactly what you're feeling, and know that it is okay to be vulnerable and stand in that time, to stand in that voice. And like I say, if that resonates, by all means, put a heart in the comments below, because like I say, this full moon is so powerful, and it allows us to really confront, to really claim what's really keeping us silent, and more importantly, transform that energy into our strengths. Now, I was just looking at our major arcana. We actually don't have any. So what I see in a lot of ways is that a lot of you have already done this work. This is just confirmation for you. And this Scorpio moon is meant to reinstill in you that you are on the right path. You've done the work. Where others have shied away from it and allowed themselves to be silent, you've worked hard. And this is an opportunity to just remove that mental clutter and know that you are standing in your strength and standing in your love. And so I truly hope that this message helps. I am sending all my love and light to you. Take care, and I will see you in the next reading.